can't we just have a little fun with this alien and star thing? Go out in the desert and just like, do we have to make it a cult every time?
It's just, and the cults always seem to be like to get the cult leader laid most of the time too, in the weirdest way.
Do you ever? What's that movie with Nicolas Cage? And it's like a
Wicker Man.
No.
Oh, Mandy.
Yeah,
the cult in that one. Oh, that's a great movie, man. I love that movie.
That's a whole psychedelic cult thing, and that seems to be the visage of every cult leader. Is like he was a failed rock star,
failed actor,
and now he's kind of started this cult around him of everyone praising him, so he can get the, whatever.
Dude.
Whatever. You really can't get into the minds of these people who are like this. They're broken people.
It's like narcissists, right? Really, like at the end of the day, they want people to worship them.
But even like there must be a part of their mind
that knows they're full of shit.
Truly believes it.
Oh, see, I feel like they know they're full of shit. Like the guy in Mandy, like.
Well, you can.
Eventually, they broke through his little, tough guy Messiah facade that he had going.
But I feel like if you do it long enough, eventually you
Yes.
develop this God complex if you didn't already have one already.
I mean, dude,
you start
that's
believing the bullshit you're spewing.
Yeah, that's the curse of celebrity, right? That's fucking
Right.
Kanye.
That's what
No
happened.
one's told him that he's done anything shitty or stupid his entire fucking career. And, now all he's putting out is shitty, stupid stuff.
What did you think of Donda, real quick? Did you listen to it?
I did not like it at all. I listened to a majority of it. I won't say I listened to all of it because it was like an hour and 45 goddamn minutes or something.
Yeah.
And I don't like Kanye that much anymore. So, sorry, you're not going to get my attention for that long.
Yeah, I heard critics were saying it's pretty good, but there's no way I can listen to an album that long no matter who it is. And the stuff I listened to, well, okay. You know what?
Yep. On that note, what's up, buddies? And welcome to another episode of Earbuds, the show where two buds talk about one album for one time only. And
I refuse to mention an album twice.
I'm never going to reference one.
Nope.
I'm never going to talk about old episodes or anything. Like, it's done. I wiped that album off my existence.
Lucas, you and me, we only got eyes for the future, bud. Yeah. I don't even know what the back of my feet look like because I don't be looking back.
I've never seen my footprint. And
how would I know?
Yeah. Apparently, there's two sets of prints every time you're walking around. Yours and Jesus.
Oh, yeah, that's the Lord with me.
Yeah, that's the Lord. He's on your tail. He's tailing you the whole time.
Yeah, it's kind of freaky.
Yeah, dude, I remember.
But he's also my plug.
Right. Yeah, like growing up, I was always scared going up the stairs of my old house that I grew up in, and my mom trying to calm me down said that it was Jesus following me. And I'm like, that doesn't make me feel any better. Why is Jesus freaking me out? Like, tailgating me up the fucking stairs.
Yeah, if he's not careful, you're going to bump into each other and an accident's going to happen.
Right? Like I could trip him, and then now I gotta deal with the fucking guilt of hurting Jesus.
Tripping the Messiah?
Yeah, I don't want to trip the Messiah.
That'd be so embarrassing.
Speaking of Jesus, my name's Lucas.
Okay. Wow. All right, are we starting a cult?
Did I tell you I was starting an alien cult? I was going to get into that in a little bit.
Right.
And this album today that we're talking about is going to be the only music that people are allowed to listen to in my cult.
Oh boy, that's going to be a miserable time for me.
It might be. We'll get into it. Your name's Brett.
Yeah.
We're the odd pod couple of pod oddcasts. And,
still staying strong.
Still staying strong. And today we're talking about a personally sort of disappointing record. Butterfly 3001 by, I guess you could say it's by King Gizzard. It was released by King Gizzard, but It is a remix record of Butterfly 3000 that came out last year, and it's every song on the record. I'm pretty sure every song on the record has a remix. At least one remix.
Yes, and I want to share with everyone listening kind of the stakes of us coming into this record. And
because we were going to do this as a shorty last week. Like, we were just going to listen to it together and record a 20-minute episode talking about it.
Yeah, then we saw it was 2 hours.
We were so naive.
And it's also, if I remember correctly, Butterfly 3000 was the 2021 album of the year. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was, yeah.
And then your most anticipated album for 2022 was this album.
Yeah, and I was so excited about this remix record because I thought, what a cool idea. It's the only remix album that King Gizzard has put out. And I had these preconceived notions of what this album was going to be like. And I was expecting a lot of weird remixes in the sense of like, and some African psych band does a remix, and then some dance band does a remix, and then maybe a Australian, like MC does a rap over one of their songs. I was expecting stuff like that, and that is not what we got.
Well, I have a couple questions to ask you before we really get into it.
Yeah.
What is your experience with remix records?
Most of the time I have been disappointed by remix records. I remember my first one that I ever bought was a Bush remix album that came out when I was like
Bush.
Yeah. It came out when I was like 11. Bush was my favorite band when I was a kid. And they came out with a remix record called Deconstructed, I think. And I was so excited. And then I got so disappointed because the whole thing was just like weird EDM, trance, like house remixes. And it's not at all what I expected. And it's almost the same experience that I had listening to this record.
I mean, gosh, as a person who has little to no experience with comp records or remix records...
Yeah, I guess I haven't listened to a lot of them, but I love covers. So to me, a cover is a remix. I guess that's what I was expecting.
I guess I came into it expecting this might be wrong. This might be the wrong expectation to come into it with and to experience it with. But I assumed what it would be is all these artists get the stems for these tracks. They reuse the stems in like different contexts and maybe add a couple instruments of their own and just like kind of change the whole scope of the song.
Yeah, make it their own in whatever way they can.
And that kind of happened, but it makes me wonder, like remix is such a broad concept, right?
Right.
That you really don't know what you're getting when you listen to a remix, because sometimes a remix nowadays can just be another rapper came on the track and they re-released the song.
Right, yeah, which I'm totally okay with. Like, I could have listened to Catching Smoke with, a reggaeton guy doing a little fucking bar, like some bars over it, and I would have totally enjoyed that much more than most of the stuff that I heard on this.
Because what it seems this album is a bunch of like EDM electronic producers putting their kicks, basses, and synths over the dude's vocals.
Yeah, and making a lot more just like something that what I would hear at a rave, like in a early 2000s movie.
Yeah, there were a lot of tracks that I wrote down, like it reminds me of Blade.
Yes,
like
I thought of Blade specifically.
Like SSX tricky menu music, which is going to be a big thing I want to talk about. But also, there are good portions of this album that are kind of more psychedelic and spacey. And aren't as like stereotypical EDM or electronic. But honestly, I didn't really enjoy those tracks either.
Yeah, like, yeah, there's some people on this record, like Deaton Chris. I think his version of Shanghai was probably the most like original remix of any of the songs that I'd heard from the like that, you know, of the originals. Compared to the originals, I was like, that is a totally different version of Shanghai, and I think it's very cool. And you could say that about so many other, so like pretty much all the tracks on here. But what sucked is that so many of the tracks were boring.
Yeah, it seems. Yeah,
I don't think this is not our genre.
No, it's really not our genre at all, and that's another question I wanted to ask you: is who is this record for?
I mean,
clearly,
it's for fans of EDM and techno and drum and bass.
But even then, I can't say I got a finger on the pulse of electronic and EDM, but to me, the majority of this record, like the original instruments the artists add to these songs, sound like the same things we've been using for a decade now. You know, these like bwah, 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 like these basic default plug-in built into the program synths.
Yeah. It's been this. Basses. It sounds like the same stuff that I would have heard in like 1994. You know, from some underground house band or house DJ or whatever.
Yeah,
for the most part. I mean, especially fucking, what was that one that it was like 11 minutes long? 4 a.m. The Catching Smoke remix of 4 a.m.
Oh god, dude, what even was that?
What was that? It was 11 minutes. Like, I don't think I've disliked a song this much in like recent history more than this one. And I mean, was it meant to sound like I was like 2 buildings away from a fucking rave that had all their windows open?
It was so weird because the first half of this 11.5-minute song sounds like it's coming from a shitty radio speaker.
Ugh. I feel like I'm like down the street from a huge party is what it sounds like to me.
And it takes like 4 minutes for like a kind of beat to come in, and then that beat repeats for the next 7 minutes.
Right.
And not like there's very slight evolutions and developments and changes, but you could have made this a 3-minute song and it would have been too long.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have enjoyed more than a minute of this, and I wouldn't have enjoyed that minute either, but I wouldn't have hated it as much. So okay, I feel like the first thing I wanted to break down is like there were songs that I loved, a couple. There were songs that I enjoyed, genuinely. Others I could tolerate. And then some that I genuinely fucking hated. And I kind of want to just break that down really quick. Because this is a nearly 2-hour record. There are multiple remixes of the same song. Blue Morpho has like 5 versions. Why did everyone want to do Blue Morpho?
Honestly, Blue Morpho was one of the tracks that was least spoke to me on the original record.
Same.
But apparently all the remixers thought it was solid gold, even though I thought there were other tracks that you could use better for the kind of stuff they did on those Blue Morpho remixes.
Dude, there's one cover of Yours, which is one of my favorite songs on the record.
Right.
There's,
I wonder, was it their choice? It must have been their choice.
It must have been their choice. Yeah. Like there's one cover of Interior People, which is another favorite.
Yeah.
It was disappointing.
I don't know, man. Someone did Butterfly 3000 but called it New Butterfly 3000?
Yeah.
But it was just Butterfly 3000? I don't know why they got to add the new part to it.
Which that's the Peaches remix, right?
It is.
Yeah, which I thought... So there were some kind of big gets on this. Like Flaming Lips did a remix, which is pretty...
Oh, God. What dude... Don't even get me started on that one.
Oh, well, you got to admit they made it a Flaming Lips song. That's probably the most like that is a Flaming Lips song at that point. They made it the most their own out of anyone else on the record.
Sounds like an intermission Flaming Lips song.
I love the little like ta-da at the end. This is the music.
Yeah, I thought the
like wow. I'm like yeah. Okay. Like make it more fucking Flaming Lips, like just goofy with their their goofy synth flutes and everything. Like they definitely made it You know, but I thought Peaches was a pretty fucking big get too.
I mean, the people I recognize were DJ Shadow.
Yeah, another big one, right?
Another huge get. I recognize Flaming Lips. I was really wishing more from them, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, Flaming Lips has some really good shit out there, and this was kind of one of those like more playful, goofy Flaming Lips songs, but I appreciated how much they made it their own. I definitely thought DJ Shadow that's just a DJ Shadow song at that point. And I had some good things to say about that one, but I mean, so let's start with the songs that I fucking hate. The remixes that I hate. Let's get that out of the way because I want to end with the ones I love.
Obviously, we're going to start with that 11.5-minute...
The Catching Smoke cover.
Yep, Catching Smoke. That
Terrible.
was also one of my least favorite songs. I remember one of the parts of the song sounded like it was like bass busted speakers.
Yeah, it was
but like there was also no bass.
Yeah, dude. I remember the first time listening to that, it was like by the time I was like 2 minutes in, I kept looking at my phone and I'm just like, what am I listening to? And I looked up this 4 a.m. person that made the remix, and I'm immediately not a fan of theirs. Like, it was 4 a.m., right? Who did that remix?
Hieroglyphic Being.
Oh, Hieroglyphic Being. He just called it the 4 a.m. remix.
4 a.m. whack remix.
Dude, Hieroglyphic Being. Sorry, bud. You lost a fan before you even made one.
Yeah. One of my least favorite songs.
Fuck that remix, dude. It's the worst. And then another one of my most hated remix is another version of Catching Smoke, which is so disappointing because it's one of my favorite ones on the goddamn record.
Yeah.
On the original.
And it's insane that this is the last song on the record?
Yeah, the one they picked, the Caitlin Aurelia Smith remix of this song, which I can't take it.
It's like if you asked me in high school to make a remix of the song, this is what it would sound like. It's off time? Like the whole time?
Very off time.
It sets up a groove and then the vocals come in and the vocals are off time?
Yeah, and they never get on beat. And there's so much going on, which I thought you might have liked that about it because of your fucking ADD rattled brain.
I mean, I did need more stuff happening on a lot of these tracks, but not like this.
Even I did. Yeah.
Not like this.
Not like this. That's what, dude, speaking of the fucking, like, where most of these songs could have been on, The Matrix, like, these would have been on the Matrix, like, soundtrack while they're, you know, hanging out with the Merovingian in the fucking club, and this horrible remix of Catching Smoke is playing in the background. It would have fit in perfectly. But above that, there were some songs I could tolerate. Some remixes that I at least tolerated, where I'm just like, where for me tolerate is like they could be on and I wouldn't be like, dude, change this shit.
So those are the two that you just don't like straight off.
So those are the ones that I hate with all of my being.
Okay, and so this is what is fine. If someone plays in the background, you're not gonna kick them out.
Right, yeah. I'm not going to, we mentioned crackers. I'm not going to kick people out of crackers.
We have a lot of crackers on this show.
I'm not going to kick people out of crackers for eating my bed. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. So those, like, ones that I could tolerate were, like, the Hector Oaks remix of You Love. Just because it's just super straightforward. Just boom, 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 boom. I'm like, all right, that's fine. The Flaming Lips cover is, I can tolerate it. Is that one that you hate?
I was just disappointed because it was one of the only two artists I knew, and I was excited to hear some weird stuff. Yeah. And then it was just a drum beat and an added bass, and that was about it. And
the pretty kind of obnoxious Flaming Lips, like falsetto voice, singing the chorus and everything. It's, I understand. The only remix of Yours I was able to tolerate by Fred P. I like that one. It was like, again, if it's on, I'm not kicking it out of crackers for eating my bed.
Yeah, but that was one where I put like, if this is the current state of electronic EDM music, I'm honestly really disappointed.
Yeah, for sure. Like they were still disappointing. Tolerating music is not the same as enjoying it. But that also, like, one of the Blue Morphos by Mall Grab tolerated it. I was really, as much as I can tolerate the scientist's dub of Catching Smoke or Shanghai, dude, I'm very disappointed with his dub remix of that song.
Yeah, it's odd. Like I knew as soon as I listened to it that it must have been a dub producer, but
a very famous, legendary dub producer, the scientist.
But it doesn't. You wouldn't know that from listening to it.
Yeah, you would have no idea. And you know what I realized though, because it's very basic dub. It's very boring, basic dub music. All the dubby things that he's doing, all the little like echoes and the delays and stuff like that, are just so boring and like uninspired. He's not even. It doesn't sound like he's having fun at all. He's like, pay me $15,000 and I'll give you a fucking remix. Like, who are these guys? You know,
it's so weird because it seems like half of the people on this record didn't even try, and like were y'all not even interested? Were y'all not excited by this concept or anything? Like these are a lot of good stems that you could use for cool remixes, and especially on that song in particular, like the piano hits were like kind of way too loud and
way
off
too
time.
Loud. Yeah, way too loud. And the little like ching, 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 things. I'm just like, dude, you can't like make it go like ching, ching, like do some fucking like trippy dub shit. He just literally like sounded like he was pressing buttons and just going like whatever.
Nah, man. If
where's
I
my money?
We've had a bit of a rough streak because I would say a good amount of this album sounds pretty uninspired.
It does, but you know what's weird is I got the opposite impression that you did by all the DJs and musicians on this record. I heard it sounded like they tried. To me, it sounded like they tried, and I just don't like this type of music. And you know, I think to me it sounded like they genuinely enjoy King Gizzard for some reason. I picked up on that on most of the songs, but I just think I don't enjoy their music that they make. So their version of a King Gizzard song is something I would hate if King Gizzard did that, you know? Like whether I enjoyed the remixes or not, and maybe not everyone tried their best because I think the scientist was like half asleep while he was doing his remix, but most people, I did get the feeling that they were trying their best, and their best is just not good enough for me.
Yeah, I don't. As a person who's not in this community at all, who does not listen to any of this music, it's hard to tell. But it seemed like either no one was really developing anything about the track, or it seemed like a good portion of the songs were just Gizzard's vocals with whatever like plugins they had, and they just kind of did whatever with it.
They're like, put some reverb and this fucking, you know, vaporwave synth patch. Like,
here's my synth, here's my 808 kick, here's my wubby bass. I'm just gonna, I don't know, give it a do and like use none of the stems from the song aside from the vocals, and I'm just gonna do whatever with it.
Yeah, I totally agree, man. It's weird to think that I feel like these people tried really hard, but the songs are still really boring. It like doesn't make sense to me logically, but I feel like there's no reason why so many people would want to do a Blue Morpho remix without really liking Blue Morpho.
Right.
Same with Catching Smoke, same with You Love. There seem to be some like fan favorites on this record in terms of like these were what these bands wanted to cover. And dude, it was so frustrating for me because they basically have all of the same songs in a row, right? So like there's like 4 Blue Morpho fucking remixes in a row. And I specifically listened to this album on random because of that. And did you not?
I would have done the same thing, but I would have lost track of like what songs I listened to.
Oh, dude, the way I was listening to this is like as the song was playing, I was writing it down, you know, so, but what's fucking really frustrating for me, both times I listened to this record, because I couldn't listen to it more than twice, they I still heard like 3 versions of Blue Morpho in a row, even though it was on random.
Right. No matter how you shuffle it, you're gonna like get 3 of these things in a row.
Yeah, there are 5 remixes of Blue Morpho on this record. And 1 of Interior People. I don't understand.
Honestly, the Blue Morpho remixes were some of my least
favorites. Yeah, same.
At least that stood out because they all kind of had the same. It seemed like they were all going for the same thing, where it was like a very distant, airy, kind of in nothing, no focus, no structure thing.
There are multiple songs on this record that my note is whatever. I just wrote whatever.
Yeah, they're also same for me. They're just blank tracks without any notes
like,
on them
I got
at all.
nothing to say. I am so bored. But there were some stuff that I genuinely did like, though.
Like what?
I liked Bullent's. I don't know how you say Bullent. His remix of 2.02 Killer Year.
2.02 Killer Year. Yeah, that was one that like kind of got some pep back in my step. Track 13.
Right? Is that the fucking, what's the drum line? That every house song?
Breakbeat.
Yeah, what's it called?
The Amen Break?
The Amen Break. That's on this song, right?
Yeah, it has like a different, the drums are kind of changing through the song while the main riff is kind of playing through the whole thing. With the soft echoes of vocals like in the background.
And that fucking, I love when the meows come in, that meow synth. Meow.
Yeah.
I love it. And that farty, deep kind of bassy synth too. It just sounds like a really fucking good fart.
It's a real satisfying.
Just a real good one. You know? That was one that I did really enjoy. There are others. Do you want me to keep going?
Nah. I think we could stop there. Well, I mean, I don't think we can go through every track on this album or anything like that.
No, for sure. It's just, you know, I would say I genuinely enjoyed probably 25% of the record.
All right, so about like
5 or 6 songs.
5 of the 21 songs.
Yeah, about 5 or 6 songs I genuinely like that I probably might listen to them again, even though, again, I genuinely like them for what they are, because picking my choice nugs was pretty fucking difficult.
Yeah, it wasn't so hard for me.
No? Like, were there very standout tracks for you on this?
I think there were 3 songs, about 3 songs that I genuinely enjoyed listening to. And the more the record went on, the harder it was for me to like give these songs a chance, because I kept getting deeper and deeper in the blues of like, oh man, like this is all this thing was. Like we built up all this hype.
Dude, I am so disappointed.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like maybe it was too much, which are like I don't know what to expect when you listen to a remix record, and I'm not sure how to best ingest a remix record, so I just did it how I usually do. And
we might not have known what to expect from a remix record, but we did have an expectation because it was a King Gizzard record.
Yeah, like King Gizzard has this. They have a reputation to their name where they're like innovating, and they're always trying to do new stuff. They're always trying to do new things, and they like can't put out a bad record.
To me, they haven't missed once since Nonagon Infinity came out. They haven't missed once. Every record I've fucking loved, and this is technically not their record, but you put it out, guys. Like, I'm stacking it up against all your other records that I really, really, really love, and this is my least favorite King Gizzard record.
Yeah, in the end, it's Butterfly 3001 by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Right.
You know, even if
y'all signed off on this,
even if y'all didn't make any of the songs, like, yeah, this is my least favorite Gizzard record by far.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, all the negativity aside, there were some moments of levity, I guess you could say. Some moments where I wasn't upset, and some genuine moments of just like, ooh, like parts where I was just like, oh, I like that a lot, especially with like really good headphones, stoned, walking my dog. You know, it's just like, oh, these are these there's some really nice moments. So like, let's get into it, man. What was your first choice nug?
It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs. It is time, it is time, it is time for choice nugs.
Well, are we, we're still doing the kind of thing we decided on before where we have our favorite song and then our favorite remix compared to the original?
Yes.
All right, well, I'll start with my favorite remix.
Okay.
And that would be... let me find it real quick. It's going to be Catching Smoke by Damn Funk.
Oh, dude, that was an honorable mention. That's an honorable mention for me. I really like that remix.
I think it doesn't use any vocals, if I remember correctly, but it's interesting. It uses a lot of the bass material from the song, which I appreciated a lot.
But dude, that fucking like early 80s funky synth bass though.
Oh, dude.
So fun. I'm like, you got me, dude.
And yeah, it like nearly has a structure of a song, you know? And yeah,
it's so dancey.
It's very dancey. It's actually got things developing, and he's like got multiple instruments, and by the end there's like the 2 minutes of the last 2 minutes of the song, like he keeps almost ending the song, and you think like, oh, the song's over, and then he brings it back, and for some reason I love that about it.
Yeah, this has such a fun vibe to it. Like, this is one that like you put on at a party and like, oh, people are dancing to this for sure, because it has that clappy snare going. He has like, I would at least 3 synthesizers going on at once, doing all these different things.
Right.
I'd love that cheesy jazzy synth bass sound, dude. And I love that he uses those bends on, you know, like that little wheel
like
on the side of this,
the little wheel of the piano.
Yeah, he's like flicking the bean over there, just fucking like fucking. He's got good technique. I'm guessing. I don't know. I don't want to gender this person, but yeah. Okay, Damn Funk is a guy, and he looks cool as shit on his Spotify picture.
He better.
Yeah, I know, dude. Yeah, this is a fun one, man. It's very like 80s dance song, in which kind of really, I guess you could say like basic and straightforward in that way, but that's only in the beat, because then everything else that he builds around it, just a lot going on there, right? So like, doesn't surprise me that it's one of your favorites.
Yeah, and it you know, I love that you could still tell, you know, what song it is, but he's definitely kind of changed it, and it's the best utilization of what the original song had to offer.
Yeah.
So that's why it's my favorite remix. But you tell me yours.
Dude, I mean, my first choice nug was the easiest one to pick because it's definitely my favorite remix on the record. And in my opinion, it's also really made it their own in a really cool way. And it's Deaton Chris. Let me see what the full name is.
Shanghai.
Deaton Chris Anthony's remix of Shanghai. This is what I wanted to hear from The Scientist. Like, Deaton Chris Anthony did a better dub remix than The Scientist did of the same fucking song. Right. What are the chances of that, dude?
It's so weird because if you have this album going in order, it's almost hard to tell that it's a different song because it does the very spacey. It's got a lot of delay, and
a lot of vocal manipulation.
The further the song got into it, the more I liked it.
It built really nicely, right? Like, it built up on itself. I love I love the reggae that they're doing in there. Love that deep synthy reggae bass going. Right. I'm assuming it's a synth. It just sounds so fucking cool. I love that he does that little like that kind of, you know, Eastern sounding synthesizer, like replacing the vocals for a little bit.
Right.
Dude, when this song opens up, it is so fun.
Oh, dude, like the break beat after like a minute in.
Which
I
sounds
was not
like
expecting that.
It comes out of nowhere and it's so fun. And it was like this is old school dubstep. Like this is what dubstep I think sounded like in the 90s before it became all the like Skrillex type shit.
Yeah.
And it's very rooted in reggae. So I'm hearing reggae during that that crazy drum beat with a super tight classic like drum and bass snare, you know?
Yep.
And it sounds like an actual set to me, honestly. Like it sounds like acoustic drum set, which made me like it even more. But then you have that part like 2.5 minutes in where it's like boom, 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 and then it gets into that like kind of classic sounding dubstep or the more recent sounding stuff. Dude,
yeah.
This song just jazzes me, man. And then they end it back on the chill reggae thing, and it's just such a lovely ride.
This was another song I did genuinely enjoy.
Yeah, right? Like I'm so glad that there were at least a handful of tracks on here that I was happy to listen to. Because, man, I'll tell you, that Bush fucking remix album from my childhood was so
Just
disappointing.
can't let that go.
Dude, you know how many times I forced myself to listen to it because I wanted to like it so bad? I have vivid memories of going to the mall with my little fucking Sony, CD player and forcing myself to listen to that record and just hating it.
I can just imagine a little Lucas just like trying to get so hype listening to this Bush remix record,
crying listening to a fucking house record, crying because I don't like it. I want to. Well, what was your second choice, Nug, man? Was it easy for you to pick your two?
It was pretty easy, yeah.
Because you said you had 3 that you really, really liked, right?
Yeah, it was like 3 or 4. I think I liked, God, one of those Blue Morpho remixes I did actually like. I think the Zandali.
Yep, that was my favorite one too.
Because it kind of incorporated like nature sounds and bongos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like the bongos. It kind of had like a Latin feel to it to me.
Right. Yeah, and it had a switch up in there, which I wasn't expecting.
Yeah, a few of these songs, and I feel like they're most of the ones that I actually liked. They didn't do the same fucking thing for 5 minutes. It wasn't the same beat for 5 minutes. Like they would switch it up every once in a while, and it does so much to like entertain me.
But I think that is definitely got to be a personal problem for us, because it's not on it. It's like the basis that EDM and electronic is supposed to be very long, very repetitive.
I think it's supposed to be kind of like it's psychedelic in its own way.
It's like trancey,
right? It's trying to put you in a trance, which it would. When some people meditate and they fall asleep.
I mean, yeah, I was about to say,
yeah. That's what would happen to me.
So yeah, that's definitely a fault of ours. But even still, like, do y'all not like the shorter songs that mix it up and evolve? Like, I don't get it. But in any case, I'm gonna show you my this is probably my favorite song on the record.
Oh, okay.
And it is the first song on the record, and it is Black Hot Soup with DJ Shadow. I think it's pretty obvious to tell why I like this one. There's a lot of it's active. This song, Black Hot Soup, was another one of those ones that I didn't really gravitate to.
Neither did I. I really actually don't like the original.
So it's really refreshing to, like, I don't know. It's just a cool song. I love the beat. I love the bass. I love how much he incorporates the woo.
I love the woos.
Any artist that used the woos was better than all the others. I
mean, and that's such a King Gizzard thing too, right? How many woos do King Gizzard have in their songs? Like, that's what he does every time they do their little psychedelic, psych out thing. Like,
it's a trademark.
It's a trope, yeah. It's a trademark, and he's one of the only ones that incorporated it And I love the bass line.
Right.
It sounds like something out of Ocean's 11.
Yeah, it's so cool, and I love my little DJ wikis.
Yeah,
you know, I'm a
love the
sucker
wikis.
for those.
I love the synthesizer that it's he made it a DJ Shadow track, and it's so cool, and it does have structure. Also, like there's a chorus, and I feel like the chorus is when they're doing the woos.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And that bass, like, burn down.
I love that bass, dude. It sounds like a stand-up bass.
No, I don't think that bass was from the original, was it?
I don't think it was. If I remember, Black Hot Soup is one of the ones that I kind of would zone out on, and I don't think it has much structure in the original. I think it's kind of more like muddled and just kind of like a really weird song. So Black Hot Soup is just a completely different vibe.
Yeah. So yeah, I just really like this remix, man. If I'm ever like, this is going on my like skate playlist for sure.
For sure, dude. For sure. Yeah, this is a good one to like have on when you're doing some action sports. when you're on your BMX, on your mongoose.
Yeah, when I'm on my fucking when I'm on my mongoose.
Yeah. Remember those, dude? Everyone wanted those.
Bike.
Dude, I'll be on my fucking Heelys going through downtown listening to this song with like super short shorts.
What was your second note?
It was pretty hard to pick, honestly, man, because I really liked that Damn Funk Catching Smoke remix. I liked it went back and forth because I really like the peaking. What is it? I mean, some of these names, dude, are so fucking weird. I couldn't write them down in full. Let me see. Come on, you piece of shit.
Peaking Lights?
Yeah, the Peaking Lights remix, the trans-psychedelic macro dosing mix of Dreams. That was one of my first choice nugs. I really like that really simple like sure. It reminds me a lot of a Bob Marley remix album, Roots Rock Remixed, and a lot of the songs sound like this, just kind of really driving straightforward beats, but he has a lot of cool timbali hits on it. Right.
I appreciated those.
Yeah, the timbales were nice, but honestly it was I landed on the first single that came out for this record, and the first song that I heard from this record like weeks before it came out, the Peaches remix of Butterfly 3000.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's this was one of the ones that I was just like, oh, Peaches fucking loves this song. Like you can hear it in the remix. She lets it build. She takes it almost like 2 minutes or something for it to like really come in. Like 2.5 minutes almost. And then when it does come in, that synth and the kick hitting at the same time, boom, 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 boom. That's just like immediately you're just like, dude, I could picture a huge rave and the lights just hitting at the same time, and that's when everyone would lose their shit. That's the fucking Matrix like orgy scene in the second Matrix movie. Is what I see in my head listening to this song.
The Blade vampire orgy.
Dude, exactly. Like whatever werewolf orgy that there was probably in Twilight or whatever.
Right. Yeah. I think that was the second movie.
Yeah, that was Breaking Dawn. But yeah, I feel like Peaches really made it her own while still kind of honoring the original song's like trippiness. Like she still made this really trippy, even though it was just a hard, almost Sleigh Bells-y, like pow 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 pow. I'm just like, ooh, I like that fucking beat, man. It's aggressive.
I thought it was I like how it evolved. It was pretty chill, but it still had some momentum behind it,
some aggression, even though it was chill and trippy.
Yeah, and I don't know. It was just one of those ones. Like, yeah, that was pretty good. It was, probably float more towards the top of the shit soup that this album is.
Yeah, this gumboot shit soup.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I thought the new Butterfly 3000, I thought it was a fucking vibe. I like the straight kick and snare. I thought it was simple in the rhythm and the beat, but then I think she kind of switched up the vocal where they are on the beat a little bit, so it sounds a little off. It gives it a weird rhythm, but I really like it, man. And it's the first. It's a little disappointing because it's the first single. It's the first track that I heard from the record, and it ends up being one of my favorites. Kind of sucks. I was hoping to hear a lot more better on here, you know?
Yeah, I think aside from the 2 or 3 we talked about, it's not like they were abhorrent or like bad to listen to, but it's just not, first off, it's not something you and I listen to, and like, also it's just kind of boring a lot of the time.
Yeah, I mean, there was a handful of songs that I was genuinely just like indifferent about.
Yeah, there were a good amount of those for me as well.
How crazy is that? I mean, it was the same thing when we were listening to Billy Talent's latest record.
Right.
Where I can't remember the last time I was bored and just kind of indifferent about a song. I mean, I either, there's some feeling, like I have feelings. I usually get, a song will bring something out of me most of the time. When a song is genuinely boring, it is really off-putting to me.
Well, it's rough. It's tough, especially if that song is like 11 and a half minutes long and you got to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, well, that's one that I fucking hate.
Well, I mean, there was also the other 11 and a half minute song, Yours.
Dude, the Yours cover was so disappointing. But I don't know. I like the original so much, but it's just so boring, this remix.
Yeah, like just another one where I didn't have anything to really add to my notes for it.
Yeah, so many. The Dreams remix by Yusu was very boring. The Blue Morpho cover by Viral or whatever was boring. It's just it was disappointing. Let's get into the ratings, man, because this is just killing me inside.
What is your rating?
I think the rating for this is a little odd because it's a comp album, basically. It's kind of weird to put one distinct rating on something made by like at least 21 different people.
I mean, I'm giving my rating as like the album as a whole. How much did I enjoy this?
Sure. I mean,
it's a 2-hour record. First of all, how many times did you listen to it?
I listened to it 3 times.
Wow. Yeah. 6 hours of this stuff.
My rating for this is going to be a lot more subjective. It's going to be a lot more personal than I think the rating I would usually put on a record.
Okay.
But with that being said, I'm going to give this album, I'm giving this thing like a 2.4 out of 10.
Yep, sounds about right.
But like it's not an album you're supposed to listen to in order and fully in one sitting and really pay attention to.
And multiple times.
Yeah, multiple times. So it's weird to give it a rating because you're not supposed to listen to it as an album, but it is released as an album. So yeah. I don't know, man.
I think that rating is fair because I'm going to be right around that, right around that area. I think if every one of these DJs or musicians put out their own, just like they released their own remix of a King Gizzard song as a single, I feel like that would have been a way better release of this, honestly. Whereas like if you already know these these DJs or whatever, you're gonna see it on their Spotify and go, oh cool, like they did a remix of a King Gizzard song, and then King Gizzard can kind of like share it as a playlist on their page or something. But releasing this as an album, it definitely did it a disservice. This is 2 hours of boom, 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 pretty much, or like it's 2 hours of
not even that.
Not even that. Like that was a better beat than any of the songs on the record that I just did. Yeah, man. But I don't know if this isn't meant to be listened to in one sitting, and paid really close attention to, because I do feel like there's an audience for this. Like there are gonna be people that love this remix record, and I'm happy for those people, because if I was a huge fan of this type of music, if I loved house and techno and EDM and stuff, and then I also loved King Gizzard, can you imagine? Right. Like, this is probably going to be some people's favorite record by them.
I don't know. It's hard for me. There's no context in which I could listen to this entire record and also enjoy it.
No, for sure. I mean, it's definitely a genre that I don't typically jam on my own, and especially if I don't have to, like I did for this fucking podcast, where I'm dedicating 4 hours of my life to listen to this and just jot down how much I dislike it. Right. So I'm right around there, man. Like I told you, there's probably 5 songs that I genuinely really like, and the rest I either tolerate, hate, or am completely indifferent towards. So, what's 25% of 10? I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. I already forgot. I'm fucking stoned. Did you give it a 2.5 also? Or 2.4?
Give it like a 2.4 or something. Honestly, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. It's just, as we're both just such huge fans of theirs too, man. So it's just such a bummer to get. This was my most anticipated album of the year.
If we were gonna choose one, we both chose one anticipated album. If we were to choose one, we would have chose this one, because Butterfly 3000 was our album of the year for 2021.
Yeah.
This was our anticipated album for 2021. This is like, we were so hyped for this album, and it was so disappointing. But listen, buddies, thank you for listening.
Yes.
I genuinely really want to know what you think of this record, especially if you're into electronic music, if you're into remixes, and like if these albums come out and you listen to them. I want to know what someone in the community, someone who listens to this music, thinks of this music.
Yeah, be our fucking EDM Sherpa, man. Like, we need...
Guide us up this mountain.
Guide us up this Everest that is this record. This was unfortunately a slog, but hopefully listening to this episode was not a slog. And let us know, like, if you listen to this whole album, like, we commend you too, and like, fucking leave us a comment on our Instagram at EBPcast, and we'll give you some love, man, because this is if you don't listen to this type of music, holy shit, it's tough to get through.
Yeah, I would say if you're interested and you don't listen to electronic, like, listen to our favorite songs, or maybe just shuffle.
For
and
sure.
If you listen to 4 or 5 songs and there's nothing for you, don't bother with the rest.
Put the phone down.
Just put it down. Don't listen to one of the 11, 12-minute ones either.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, thanks for listening, buds. Yeah, like we said, EBPcast on Instagram. I'm at Jean-Luc Guitard. Brett is at Brett Hanrahan. We have some like fun guests coming up soon, but I think our next episode is that our guests?
It is. It's our guest Mug Dog.
Mug Dog, a band from Austin, Texas, and hung out with these guys a few times in our Mortalis days when we were playing shows out in Austin. So yeah, I'm really excited to have them on. Do we know what album they're choosing?
We do not. I will.
We gotta ask them
today.
Yeah, we gotta ask them. But yeah, look out for that episode. And Brett, what would you rate this episode?
Woo! I would rate this episode a 3.001.
Yeah, ooh, I like it. I'm gonna give it the same rating. I'm just not high enough to understand what you did there. All right, buddies. Thanks for listening.
Listen, I'm not going to let this bring me down.
Yeah.
This is going to be a great year in music.
It's true.
I am not going to let this put me in the pit.
At the end of the day, this was not a King Gizzard album. This was a remix album, so I blame all the DJs.
I blame all the DJs in the world.
Yes.
For this one.
Brett, I would say this was...
This was informal.
This wasn't formal.
This was statistical. This was
This was like surgical.
This was surgical.
I felt like I've been in a doctor's office for the last hour.
But you know what? Any episode with you, Bud, is good.
Yeah, it's true. Good point. Bye, buddy.
Bye, y'all.